Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sideline Sato here. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be looking at Liverpool 23-24 squad, the current iteration, in the transition from the Klopp era into the Arne Slot era. I'm going to look at who I think deserves to be kept, who deserves to be sold, and who deserves to be loaned out and developed in kind of a prospect for the future. If you want me to do a video like this for another club, please make sure to comment it down below. There's a lot of clubs I'd be willing to do it on in the Premier League, outside the Premier League. So, as always, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, like the video if you enjoy it, and let's get started. Automatically, there's technically four categories. The fourth category, very obvious. Adrian. Adrian is effectively, I'm pretty sure he's a question mark as to whether or not he'll leave the club. Leaning towards that he probably will, if I'm not mistaken. But he's such an anomaly at the club, being effectively third, probably closer to fourth choice keeper now. But at the same time, he's a player who I think has done an incredible job with his, limited minutes at Liverpool. So he deserves his own category. But we're going to get started with a very obvious one. And that man is none other than Alisson Becker, which immediately keep Alisson. There's rumors about Saudi. There's rumors that, Liverpool might be looking to move on from him. An introduction of a head goalkeeping kind of coach to come in post John Achtenberg leaving. I don't think that necessarily means that Alisson will leave. It's very clear to everybody that he is the number one at Liverpool. He should be kept. End of story. Alexis Mac Allister. I have his jersey on right now. He's next. Alexis been brilliant. Another obvious keep. I think it just makes a lot of sense to keep Alexis in and around the squad for as long as possible, as long as humanly possible, realistically. The next one is the first one that might have some people start to kind of become a bit more split. I disagree with anyone that thinks that Andrew Robertson should be sold. Andy Robertson is a massive, massive yes for me. He has at least a few more years. We don't have anyone really at left back to compete with him at that level. I say you keep him and you kind of look to supplement him in the future. But as for now, Andy Robertson, he had some great games this season. He had some pockets of form that were great, but he was also injured. But that was really unlucky in my opinion. So keep Andy Robertson. The next one, Bobby Clark. He featured under Klopp a bit this season, was rotated. Obviously, Liverpool had some injury issues, as we always do, it seems. Hopefully, Arne Slot can fix that. Fingers crossed. But ultimately, Bobby Clark, I like what I see as a prospect in Bobby Clark. So for now, I'm gonna keep him in loan. I'm leaning towards keep regardless for him, and I'll also throw in Ben Doak to the loan category immediately. These two occupy a similar kind of position for me in Liverpool. They've impressed in spurts. They haven't necessarily hit the ground running, so to speak, but they've been, exciting to see, get minutes on the pitch, to see develop under Klopp. We've seen moments where Ben Doak has just been absolutely rapid and looked like a threat down the wing. We've seen moments where Bobby Clark has put in a really good tackle that looks like something that a seasoned vet would do. So both of them, I think, getting a loan, getting some proper minutes and like a good season of like experience. They're still both very young. I think they're both under 21. So that's why they're there. Keep immediately Conor Bradley. Immediate keep. He is clearly in his development curve. He is far ahead to both of Bobby Clark and Ben Doak. No offense to them. I think they both can still be world-class players if they put their mind to it. It's more so that what we've seen from Conor Bradley has just been incredible. The match against Chelsea, several moments throughout the season, that he just looked really good going forward. The one thing I would critique about Conor Bradley that is kind of a question mark is he does have a propensity for an own goal. I think he'll kind of start to tidy that up out of his game as the years progress. But yeah. Next is Cody Gakpo. I say we keep Cody Gakpo. there's people that might say, oh, sell him, but with Arne Slot coming in, the Dutch connection, Gravenberch's there already, Van Dijk is there. I think Gakpo can offer a lot to this team. I just think that this season he didn't have really a position. I think going into the way that Arne Slot intends to play, Gakpo would be very important for that. So keep him for sure. Next up, we have Curtis Jones, another keep. Curtis, academy prospect, has really come to his own this season, has looked impressive. I've been impressed with Curtis a lot. I thought this season was make or break for him going into it, and I think he made it personally. I think he's shown that he deserves to play for the club, and the fact that he is Scouse, always going to be extra points for a player if they're a good player and they happen to be a local academy prospect. Curtis is a massive keep for me. Next up is Caoimhin Kelleher, and I love Caoimhin Kelleher to death. And sometimes in life they say, if you really love something, if you truly love something, you've got to set it free. And coming off the back of the interview that was released, if you're not aware of it, there was a bit of a dialogue that Kelleher had with a reporter. I believe it was released officially through Liverpool FC, through the club's official site, but effectively said something to the effect of, I want to be number one either at Liverpool or somewhere else. And I respect that. He has done so much for this club. He's earned his luxury to pick what he wants to do. And I think for him, he wants to be number one. He said it himself. So for me, I love you, Caoimhin Kelleher. So I think the only logical thing is to set you free, brother. Go on and go wherever you please, wherever is best suited for you. Get that number one spot. I'd love for Edwards to put a buyback clause in there, like a 3-year kind of window where after 2 seasons, if it's going really well and say Alisson really does make a move after, say, this season, the next, not to say that will happen or that's what I want to happen, but in the event of us losing Alisson in a transfer to a Saudi club or something, a buyback clause would be what I would do for Kelleher. If you wouldn't want the buyback clause and it starts to kind of muddy the waters on the transfer, you just cut your ties. But I really do rate Caoimhin Kelleher. It's just a shame he has had to be the deputy to literally Alisson Becker for the better part of his whole career, really. So I hope he goes and gets that move. It's gonna pain me to see Kelleher leave, but I think it really is the most sound choice. Next up, we have Calvin Ramsay, who Calvin, I'd say loan him out one more season. I know he's had some knee injuries. That's been a concern. I would love to see him develop at the club. I'd love to see him stay. He's Scottish. Liverpool has a rich history with Scottish players, Kenny Dalglish, etc., etc. This video is already too long. I don't want to harp too long. But I do think that Ramsay deserves at least a bit more of a shot at Liverpool. I say loan him out, get him to develop. We'll see how it goes. Next up is Calum Scanlon. I'd also keep just loan him. He's impressed at moments. Not too much of a consistent feature compared to the rest of these guys, who I think have all gotten more game time besides maybe Calvin Ramsay. But yeah, I think all in all, yeah, I think he deserves to be loaned out. Next up is Diogo Jota. Jota, I mean, listen, here's what I gotta say. Diogo Jota I really rate. When he's fit, he's one of the best forwards in the Premier League, hands down. He is one of the best finishers in the league. When he is at full fitness, when he's ready to go, he's one of Liverpool's best offensive weapons. Jota is the type of guy who, with where he's at in his career right now, we either have to hold on to Jota for the remainder of his prime or sell him. I am leaning towards keep him, so I will put him in keep. But I could see Jota being like someone who people might not expect to have links and rumors to move. I would imagine he's happy at the club. I wouldn't want him to go, but I could see people being interested in Diogo Jota because of how good of a forward he is. Now, clinically he is, but at the same time, his injury record is a bit of a concern. So that's what leans me away from him being a realistic transfer away. I wouldn't want him to move, but all in all, I think keeping him is the best choice. Next up is Darwin Nunez. Darwizzy. Darwin, mate, I love you to death. I really do have a personal connection to Darwin Nunez in a way that I feel kind of lucky for. My first video on this channel is about Darwin Nunez. You could go check it out. And even then I was like so excited and still so like unsure as to what he could hold for this club. I think that Darwin in many ways is just like this far away from making everything click for him at Liverpool. Not saying that he's going to bury every chance. He'll still have like sitters that he misses. But like just a hair away from being an absolute menace, like from his transfer fee looking like not only that it is worth it, but oh my God, they kind of could have, they probably should have spent another 15, 20, 35 mil on Darwin. And I know that sounds crazy, and maybe I am, but I'm keeping Darwin. There's no reason to sell Darwin now. Like selling Darwin now is stupid. It's effectively, even if you think that Darwin's a bad fit, even if you think Darwin should go, okay, you're selling him at a cut price then. Like he's not going to go for nearly as much as he was sold for to Liverpool. So selling him now is a loss. I would keep him regardless. Don't even consider selling him for 2-3 seasons. Let Arne Slot have his influence on Darwin's game. And I think he will literally like break through the ceiling. Next up is Dominik Szoboszlai. Exact same thing I said about Darwin. People criticize Szoboszlai throughout this season. And I think he's warranted that at times, but he's also been run into the ground in Klopp's system. I think in this upcoming iteration of the squad, he will play further up the pitch, either as the central attacking midfielder or off the wings as like a creative force. And there'll definitely be moments where he's interchanging with that cam. And I think he would just do brilliant at that. Next up is Fabio Carvalho. Fabio Carvalho last season scored that goal against Newcastle. Absolutely sent everyone into a tizzy. I was ecstatic to see that. He's been at Hull. He's been doing great at Hull under, I forget his first name, but Rosnier, the manager of Hull, or former manager of Hull, I believe. I think he's been sacked since. But Carvalho has impressed. He looks like a player who could actually fit into Slot's side really well. Slot really does like using kind of these rotations with his cams and his wingers, and that's exactly the type of position that Carvalho occupies. He is, effectively like a fusion between a cam and a winger, so definitely keep him. I wouldn't even say loan him, just keep him around the squad as rotation piece, as a challenger to the position for Szoboszlai and others. I think that's just an obvious choice. Another obvious choice, keep Wataru Endo. I'd say one of the signings of the season for Liverpool. I'd say for value, definitely the signing of the season. Mac Allister's up there for sure, very close second, but Wataru Endo's an absolute professional. I could see him playing for another 2, 3, 4 seasons, and I just kind of wish we got him earlier. I say that so much, but I really do. Because he would be absolutely incredible if the clock was, spun back like 5 seasons. Like if he was like 25, 26, 27 and we had him at Liverpool, he would be invaluable to us. He still is, I think, to some extent for what we have. And I think we'll add reinforcements to DM, but I think we keep him regardless. Next up is an academy prospect, Harvey Blair. Straight up, don't know a lot about Harvey Blair. Not going to lie to you. Just loan him out, see if he could develop. Next up, Harvey Elliott, another Harvey to Harvey. Harvey Elliott, I mean, yeah, keep Harvey. He's been great this season. He's improving. he's another player who falls into the Szoboszlai Carvalho category of interchangeable between like a winger and a cam. You look at Calvin Stengs at Feyenoord, and he kind of had done that a lot under Arne Slot. I'm not saying they'll play exactly the same, but those kind of philosophies will allow for these players to get into positions that will be favorable for them. Konate, I mean, bro, just keep him. Like, easy money. Injury prone, sure. When fit, one of our better defenders. I'd say our second best center back, without a doubt. Second best defender as well. So yeah, just keep him. Very obvious. Jayden Danns, I say we loan him out just because he is so young and it is already kind of crowded in the forward area, so to speak. Liverpool's forward area does need a slight retooling, whether that's tactically or personnel-wise, we'll see. But Danns, I think, get him like a season away, somewhere maybe in the championship, and let him just kind of let his hair down, so to speak. Let him go for it and see how he can develop. Joe Gomez, keep. He has proven to be a Swiss Army knife of a defender. He's versatile, plays center back decently, plays left back really well. His right back role is questionable at best. Like, I have always been shaky on Gomez at right back. For some reason, you put him at left back, and maybe it's just because he could play with his right foot a bit easier and play these long balls a bit more comfortably, as opposed to getting like, forced to, kind of play it across like his body. I mean, it's yeah, I think Gomez is an easy keep. There's links to Saudi, but don't sell him, please. Also, why is Saudi in for Joe Gomez? I feel like he's too young for them. They usually go for the retired kind of on the end of the horizon players. Next one, this one, he's here, Joel Matip. I want to just take this moment to thank Joel Matip for his countless games of professionalism, service, and overall quality at Liverpool. He was incredible. He's left already as a free agent, so that's why he's in the sell category. But personally, for me, man, Joel Matip, what a player. What a player on his day. Hopefully he gets a free move somewhere good. I'd say one of the best free signings of the Premier League era, period. Like, there's not many people that compete with him. James Milner competes with him. There's probably a couple other people that I'm missing off the top of my head. But Joel Matip is straight up there. He's won the lot with us, and I love him to death. James McConnell, another one that I'm going to throw into the loan category. It might feel like I'm putting all these youngsters into the loan category, and that might feel a little cheap. But honestly, I think it's the best move for them with Klopp leaving. They want to go and play at Liverpool, of course. They want to impress the club, obviously. There's going to be a lot of competition amongst the existing crop of players. As you can see, this is already a lot of players I'm choosing to keep, and there'll be more. But I do think that these youngsters, giving them a season of like proper professional football experience and then coming back, could add so much to their games. It would be insane. I know some of them have been loaned out, like Calvin Ramsay and such, but I think all these guys could still use development. Next up is Jarrell Quansah. Jarrell Quansah, keep. He's at that level already. Conor Bradley and him are a step above all the other youngsters. Next up, we have Kaide Gordon. I'm going to keep loan Kaide as well. Another similar category for everybody. Same kind of philosophy applies. Go impress, go get some experience at like a solid club. Kick on, and we'll see where you're at. I don't know if Tyler Morton's on here. I would put him into keep if he was, just to clarify. Next up is Kostas Tsimikas, and this is going to pain me to say, but Kostas, Greek Scouser lad, I love you. You're a great player on your day, but your day is just very inconsistent. There was that period before he got injured where he was playing out of his skin. If you could find that for him, keep him. I don't know if he will. And he's kind of aging, and the return that we could get for him is diminishing year on year. And I think we could honestly have a lot better player at left back. So I'm going to put Kostas Tsimikas into sell. It really does pay me to say that. I'm keeping a lot of players because I think Liverpool have done generally well this season. A lot of people deserve to stay and prove that they can play. And then there's some people who deserve to move away, like Kelleher. Costa, sadly, I do think, and I hate to say this, I just think that there's moments where that concentration's not there. It's not a quality thing. It's the concentration. That's a bigger concern for me than anything. So, yeah, gonna have to sell Kostas Tsimikas. Next up is Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz. Lucho, lots of links to Barca, PSG, here, there. Mate, you're amazing. He has given so much to this club with his, I feel like selfless contributions during obviously a very scary time in his life when his dad was kidnapped and such. But it really does feel like Lucho does want a move away. So I'm going to say sell. I really rate Luis Diaz. I think wherever he goes, he's going to be an absolute force. He was one of the best players at the end of last season for Liverpool. Liverpool's really crowded at the left wing right now, though. Gakpo, Nunez, Jota, Carvalho, they could all play there. They could all play there comfortably. Even Szoboszlai can maybe like moonlight as a left winger. I would say you kind of downgrade you bring in another left winger when you sell Lucho. You downgrade the quality of the left winger, not like go and get somebody awful like Dwight McNeil or something. But I'm saying go and find someone who is a better prospect than Diaz down the line. Allow for that left wing spot to be more of Gakpo's, to be more of Darwin's, to be more of Jota's. Have the other one play at striker, bring in another forward, bring in an additional right winger, and I think we're in a better spot than just simply having Luis Diaz. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Luis Koumas, gonna put him there. Gonna put Frondorf there. Gonna put him there. That's Matthias Muzielowski, Melkamu, Frondorf, and Luis Koumas. All same exact thing that I could say for all of them. Luis Koumas, I do want to say he looks like he could be a really good forward one day. And that's another reason why I think getting rid of Lucho could be good, because with players like him coming on the left wing, you sell Lucho, you get funds, reinvest, as opposed to holding on to Lucho, who I do rate, but I really don't like seeing the links in the season, especially in the run-in for the title while Klopp's leaving. That really rubbed me the wrong way. So that's why I'd say that. Next up is Marcelo Pitaluga. I'd say we keep him. You could loan him out potentially, but if Kelleher is going to leave, if Adrian's going to leave, you need to keep somebody. Maybe they sign another backup goalie and Pitaluga's there as the third choice. I could see that being the reality. And then some academy prospect comes up and takes Pitaluga's role as the fourth choice goalie. That seems like it makes sense. Next up is Mohamed Salah. This one's tricky. Let's be real. This one's really tricky. People will say, sell him, get the funds, extend him, have him play for a few more years. He's the best forward. I say we keep him. We had Salah this season, and he was incredible, even while missing a month for AFCON and then additional time due to the injury that he sustained while at AFCON. He was almost like, if he had a full season, no breaks, he would have had like 20 and 20, I think. Straight up, he was insane this year. I say we keep him. I say we give him a 2-year contract extension, have him play for 2 more years, sell him on the final year. If you want to get some funds for him. If he wants to retire here, extend him the whole way through. Let him stay. It depends on Mo. Depends on the club. I say we keep him. I say we extend him. Personally. Next up is Nat Phillips. I'm going to say we sell Nat Phillips, similar to Caoimhin Kelleher. It's a bit closer to a Kostas Tsimikas situation where I don't ever see Phillips being really at the top level of a Virgil van Dijk or Ibrahima Konate to play week in, week out at this club. And that's not a jab. I love Nat Phillips. I think he's such a good player, Nat Phillips. And I think he deserves a spot somewhere else. A West Ham, a Bournemouth, I could see him going to a club like that and doing really well, actually, similar to Caoimhin Kelleher. Next up is Ryan Gravenberch. Keep, very simply. He just came in last season. Give him some time. Plus, he's Dutch. He fit right into the kind of not system just because he's Dutch, but having a Dutch manager there will be a big benefit for him. And I think he could improve into one of the best midfielders in the world on his day. He's still incredibly young. Next up is Rhys Williams. Sorry. Rhys Williams, similar to Phillips, I do think it's time for him to kind of move on. I mean, maybe he stays, but does he want to? I don't think so. That starts to bring in the question of how long do you keep him around? And I think it's kind of time to cut your ties at this point. Next is Stefan Bajcetic. Keep, very easy. Keep Stefan. He's such a good player. He's just come back from injury. He looked impressive when he came in under Klopp. I think he's going to be a huge player for Liverpool, for Arne Slot, especially in the double pivot system. I'm excited to see how that goes. Next up is Sepp van den Berg. I'm saying sell not because I want to sell Sepp van den Berg, but Sepp van den Berg wants to leave, and I think we should fulfill his requests. He never got really proper support at Liverpool. I know a Dutch manager is coming in now, but I could understand where he's coming from. He probably doesn't. He's just been loaned out constantly. He probably doesn't feel like a proper association to the club like the other players. So I say you gotta sell him just to do him right. Next up is Thiago, another sell. He is already gone from the club. His contract expired June 1st, which was yesterday by the time you're seeing this. What a player. I wish it worked out at Liverpool for him a bit better. It sadly never did. Injuries just plagued his whole time here. But man, that goal against Porto was incredible. He was wild to see play at some points, even like when he was fit for Liverpool, is incredible, and just such a legendary midfielder. I'm honestly privileged to say that he once played for my club, so credit to him, and hopefully he has a great career as a manager in the future, because I think he should go into management eventually. He just kind of has that vibe. Next is Trent Alexander-Arnold, vice captain, very obvious. Keep him. Give him the key to the city. Do what you need to do. Lock up Trent to the longest contract you can. We need Trent as long as possible at Liverpool. I want him to retire at the club. End of story. Trent Cohen-Doherty, Irish youngster from Londonderry. I don't know much about him besides that. Still very young. Loan him out or keep him. Honestly, I'd say you keep him, only because he is so young that you don't want to loan him out immediately. Next up, Virgil van Dijk. Keep him. Trent, Virg, Salah, all same kind of vibe. They are crucial to the way we play. You keep them so that you A, preserve their value, B, continue to keep them at the club, and C, just you're in a better position keeping them. Next up is Trey Nyoini. He's last but not least, I suppose. I'm going to put him in the same category as keep. The reason why, actually, I'm just going to keep him in loan. Honestly, both of them could go to loan. So here it is. The keep, loan, sell list for me for Liverpool approaching this summer. Everybody up at the top, I feel like generally speaks for themselves. The loan players are mostly just youngsters that I think aren't quite ready to be featuring off the bench week in, week out, or in the starting 11. And then the sell are just players who either A, I think deserve to make a name for themselves removed from the club because they have been playing so well. B, have already left, like Joel Matip and Thiago. C, aren't good enough to represent the club at the level I expect them to have to be at, like Phillips, Williams, Tsimikas, and then Lucho and Sepp van den Berg. I think they're both kind of in places where it seems like they both would rather prefer move away. So I think the club should fulfill their wishes just to kind of preserve the structure of the existing squad. And then, yeah, reinforcements come in. I think some more players will definitely be sold than what I'm saying, but maybe this is just everyone that gets sold. I mean, you could imagine selling this group of players probably 25 for Kelleher, 20-25, 15 to 20 for Kostas, 50 to 60 for Lucho, like maybe 10 for Nat, 5 for Rhys Williams, 20 for Sepp Vandenberg. That starts looking like, I don't know, 10, 60, 75, 95. You could raise like 100 mil selling these players, honestly. Plus the additional supplement of getting those wages off the books. This could be, honest to God, I think really genuinely smart strategy for Liverpool. I don't know how the squad will look squad depth wise. I mean, you're losing 1, 2, 3, 4 center backs. So center back would be an absolute priority. A left back would probably be a priority. Another maybe a backup goalie, a midfielder, and then a forward. So realistically, you'd have to get like reinforcements all across the pitch, but not too much of probably like one in each area, and you'll be fine. So those are my thoughts. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. It probably ended up being way longer than I intended it to be, but so be it. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if I should do your club next, and comment down below as to who that club is. Like if you enjoyed it. I know I said that like a million times already, but subscribe if you're new as well. Hope you enjoyed. I'm Sideline Sado. Peace.